G'day guys and gal. In the lore, we are constantly blasted with Imperium versus Chaos, with maybe a sprinkle of Xeno influence if the writers are feeling extra spicy. And while that's all well and good, some of the most fun lore has been when Xenos are faced up against the forces of hell, especially when they go on to beat their ass and humiliate them in their own alien-like way. But with these cool moments scattered throughout the niche corners of the lore, I thought I would try and find as many examples of Xenos kicking Chaos ass as I could for your viewing pleasure. Before we get started, I'm not much of a mobile gamer, but I always like to have one I can play when I'm out and about and need to kill some time. Right now, that game is Bloodline Heroes of Lithis, a game with so much content that I don't even know where to begin. Bloodline Heroes of Lithis is a hero collective fantasy RPG, where you not only fight high octane battles, collect various different champions, and build your kingdom, but you can then mate your different champions to create even more insane hybrids. The hybrid system isn't some gimmick. There are over 800 different hybrids which inherit their parents' talents, traits, and unique appearances. These hybrids can then be taken into these awesome battles. Now is the best time to get into Bloodline, as it is their 2nd year anniversary, meaning they're absolutely blasting new and existing players with a ton of rewards, as well as the new champion, Luxus the Light Goddess. If you're a previous player who is currently inactive, then logging in during the celebration will net you a free mythic champion, champion tokens, summon crystals, and bonus gold chests, worth about $250. That is on top of the fact that by using my link below or QR code on screen if you're on a TV or computer to download the game for free, you'll get a mystery anniversary gift pack worth $120. That is some obscene value. Never has there ever been a better time to start Bloodline Heroes of Lithis or jump back in. Cheers to Bloodline Heroes of Lithis for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over various different moments in the lore where the Xenos decided to stop becoming a punching bag and actually showed Chaos who's boss. Let's get into it. Let's start with the times the Tyranids have spanked the Chaotic Boys raw. I know, I never start with the Tyranids. It's a new Majorkill. Tyranids and Chaos avoided each other for the first few years of the Nids entering the galaxy. Chaos was spiky and hard to eat, their demons providing no biomass, while for Chaos, the Nids were a waste of resources to fight, and it was better that they were just left to fight the Imperium. However, when the Great Rift was torn open, it kicked the hive mind so hard in its many balls that it actually knocked it out for a bit. When it awoke and found its perfectly edible galaxy now full of demons and warp taint, it decided to adjust its priorities, expending a large amount of biomass to create Hive Fleet Kronos, a hive fleet designed to kill Chaos, and boy has it been killing. With more ranged units and a stronger shadow in the warp, Kronos is the ultimate Chaos counter, tearing across Chaos worlds, devouring it all. It's actually gotten to a point where other hive fleets will invade a Chaos world, cop the damage, turn it into soup, and then leave it for Kronos to come devour, unopposed. There was even an instance of a space battle occurring, Imperium vs Chaos, where Kronos arrived, ignored the Imperials, and beelined to attack the Chaos fleet. The Imperial captain was like, okie dokie, and he got the hell out of there. An interesting example of the Nids clapping Chaos was when a Tyranid force attacked an Imperial force on a world that contained a warp artifact. The Grey Knights tried to stop the Nids, but they were overwhelmed, with the bloodshed causing the warp artifact to activate and spew forth a Chaos army. The Nids and demons fell upon each other, and although the demons seemed to have the upper hand, the Tyranids quickly adapted their strategy and found a lot of success from bombing the demonic hordes with their psychic zoanthropes, while also blasting them with the shadow and the warp. The demons were soundly beaten and banished. See, even without Hive Fleet Kronos, the Nids are a natural counter to Chaos. They can match or exceed their numbers, and the Nids are immune to corruption. They can adapt to Nurgle-like plagues, do not even have blood, only Ichor, so Khorne doesn't find them very fun. They cannot be seduced, and I don't even want to visualize Tyranid Rule 34, and they are so straightforward and hive-minded that Titsnitch cannot manipulate them. On top of the fact that their shadow in the warp is like a blankness aura, which weakens demons and psychers, as well as the fact that Tyranids have no morale issues, so the horrors of Chaos is like a walk in the park for them. The final Tyranid spanking Chaos example I have for you is a huge L for the Iron Warriors. The Tyranids wanted to chomp down an Iron Warriors fortress world like lamb chowder, but these are the fucking Iron Warriors, masters of the siege. They had an entire grand company of Iron Warriors, which is like 1,000, as well as Chaos Titans and hundreds of demon engines. Their fortress was protected by kilometers of kill zones, trenches, mines, razor wire, and other nasty shit. Not to mention the bastion itself was void shielded, full of cannons and laser guns and all that good stuff. The point being, this was the Iron Warriors armed and ready, at their best, ready to iron cage the shit out of the Nids. Initially, the defense held strong, millions of Nids getting blasted apart on the killing fields whilst their winged troops were shot out of the sky. Even the Tyranid Biotitans couldn't breach the fortress. But then, the Nids got a bright idea. They used their trigons to burrow deep under the fortress and create tunnels in which countless gaunts could rush out of and attack the defenders from deep within their own fortress. This attack cut off the Iron Warriors' supplies, took their attention off the main battle, and isolated them from each other. The entire Grand Company was slaughtered, alongside their titans, demon engines, and cultist cohorts. It was a massive humiliation, as anyone that knew about the Nids would have known about their burrowing ability and could have implemented countermeasures, like underground mines, or the crazy shit Rogel Dawn did during the Siege of Terror that stopped the traitors from burrowing. Let's now check out how the Tau and Chaos have gotten along. The Tau don't usually fight Chaos, but it has happened a few times, with the Tau surprisingly often coming out on top. When Commander Farsight visited a world called Arthas Moloch, he and his forces were ambushed by Khornite demons. Now, Khornite demons love melee combat, they fucking love it, and the Tau do not. The Tau were getting their ass beat until Farsight found a spicy sword and did some weeb jitsu shit and was able to beat back the demons and close their warp portal. A Khornite demon force getting out meleeed by a bunch of Tau is humiliating. I guarantee Khorne would never let these demons live that down. He'd call them names like the Weeaboo Fleshlight or Peg Lord or something. Khorne isn't the only force of chaos that has been shamed by the Tau. When the Tau played with warp drives and accidentally tore open a portal that led to the heart of their empire, they freaked out. Especially when a Death Guard armada made its way to the other side of the portal, because if they went through, they could appear in the heart of the Tau empire and cause a lot of issues. Commander Shadowsun fought like a war goddess reborn to stop them. However, the Death Guard flagship made it to the portal. But then, he came face to face with the Tau warp god who bitch slapped his ship and destroyed it. Suck shit, loser. Imagine getting clapped by the god of a godless race. Womp womp. With the Tau being in the corner of the galaxy and generally difficult to corrupt, Chaos doesn't direct its attention there often, except for Khorne, who seems to have a giga hard-on for Commander Farsight and keeps on trying to corrupt him. Let's now look at the Orcs diddling Chaos's piddle. As a bit of an extra note for Farsight, there was a battle where Farsight managed to lure an Orc army to fight a Chaos army, while he and his men extracted. To everyone's amazement, the Orcs actually came out on top for once and completely purged the planet of chaotic taint, so there you go, good work, Orky boys. Now obviously I do need to mention Tusker Demon Killer. Tusker was an Orc war boss who was traveling through the warp and his ship was boarded by demons. He found them to be an extremely fun enemy to fight, so after purging them from his ship, he decided he wanted to find more, directing his ship straight into the Eye of Terror. Now usually that is a death sentence, but it actually worked out pretty well for Tusker. He splintered and smashed the crystal towers of a Titsnichian world, burnt the swamps of a Nurglite world, took the fun out of cock and ball torture on a Slaaneshi world, but it was when he arrived on a Khornite demon world, controlled by the Blood Prince, that Tusker met his match. The two forces fought, but the Blood Prince was too strong and struck Tusker down. In a final act of defiance, Tusker managed to slice off the Blood Prince's cock and balls with his power claw before the Blood Prince slew him and his forces killed all of the Orcs. I'm not joking there, Tusker literally cut off the Blood Prince's dick. Khorne thought that was so hilarious that he revived Tusker, his army, and the demons, before then moving them to his own domain outside his brass citadel, and he allows them to fight the same battle every day for his own amusement, something Tusker quite enjoys. Although Khorne was happy about this, a lot of Chaos got massively dunked on, the other Chaos God worlds all got clapped, and the Blood Prince literally lost his dick. Time to now suss how the Necrons have been dealing with Chaos. The Necrons and Chaos don't really have much reason to often fight each other, but when they do, it's always a bit of fun. There's a scene of a single unnamed Necron Lord absolutely bodying the shit out of some of the Chaos's best warriors. The two forces are fighting, and this Necron Lord is just cutting through the Chaos forces like a katana through a 5-year-old's neck. He is one-shotting elite space marines like it's nobody's business. The named Chaos Marine, Marduk, as well as two of his elite bodyguard and a Terminator all attack the Lord together. The Necron instantly kills the two bodyguards, stabs the Terminator in the chest, and then cuts off Marduk's arm, seemingly without effort. Then a Dreadnought attacks the Necron and he simply dodges it and cuts off its leg, and then stabs it in the chest, mortally wounding it. However, the Dreadnought is able to quickly grab the Necron and squeezed, but the Necron simply turns into a swarm of scarabs and begins reforming. At that point, Marduk is like, fuck this, and he requests a teleport extraction. Remember, this is an unnamed random-ass Necron Lord who made Chaos Terminators and even a Chaos Dreadnought look like child's play. Now for a different kind of humiliation, we have the time that Trazyn the Infinite thought it would be funny to bait a bunch of Chaos Terminators to enter into a time loop and constantly repeat the same mission over and over. The Terminators were trying to steal an artifact off Trazyn, who used it to allow them to get within arm's reach of it before resetting the time loop. Before each reset, he freezes the Chaos Terminators, calls them a bunch of retards, and then does it all again, for his own amusement. Although this next example would end poorly for the Necron, it was still embarrassing for Chaos. Lucius the Eternal, greatest swordsmen of Chaos dueled an unnamed Necron Lord and lost. The Necron took pride in the kill, which allowed Slaanesh to somehow override its Necronness, which allowed Lucius to respawn through the Necron. But even just dying like that is an L for Lucius. Now it's time to check out the Eldar and their repeated spankings of Chaos. The Eldar have fought Chaos the most out of all the Xenos and have done a solid job of humiliating the shit out of them. There's a scene where an elite Chaos Space Marine squad were on an Imperial world that they were destroying, and a Harlequin Solitaire decides to have some fun with them. It sprints in and out of combat, claiming a life with each pass as the Chaos Marines are too slow to target it or react. Eventually, only one remains. The Chaos Captain hypes himself up and he's like, let's go, I'll kill you, only to then be slain before he can even see what has killed him. As he lays there dying, he looks up to see the Solitaire standing there, giving him a bow as the darkness takes him. The Harlequins have slaughtered many Chaos armies, and this scene encapsulates that well. Not to be beaten, let's look at the time that Abaddon lost a melee fight to a 10,000-year-old wizard who has creaky crystal bones. For some context, Eldrad and his warlocks charged in on Abaddon in a 3v1. Abaddon kills one and is stabbed by Eldrad. Abaddon tanks the blow and prepares to strike Eldrad down, but Dracnian is hungry for Eldrad's soul, so it subtly pulls Abaddon forward out of position, which allows Eldrad to position his spear to pierce Abaddon's throat. But before it could drive in and deliver the kill, Abaddon was teleported to safety by Chaos. This sounds kinda silly, but it was based on an actual tabletop game, where Eldrad and his warlocks used some cheesy strats to overpower the shit out of the other player's Abaddon, so they decided to make a bit of a lore snippet out of it. Either way, huge L for Chaos that people still meme on Abaddon for till this day. This next humiliation was actually pretty funny. When Yvraine and her Ynnari were fighting against Ahriman and his warband in the webway, Ahriman engages her in battle. She knows he is too powerful to beat, so she summons the power of Yned and turns a number of the Rubik Marines back into their flesh and blood form, free of the flesh change. The Marines then ask what is going on, as their last memory was just before Ahriman's rubric like 10,000 years ago. Ahriman is shocked. He has spent 10,000 years trying to undo the rubric and save his brothers, yet this random Eldar bitch just does it on a whim. Yvraine then cuts a hole in the webway which sucks the revived Marines through. A panicked Ahriman goes after them. I like scenes like this, which shows that the Eldar play by a different set of rules and that they have the solutions to the problems that other factions literally cannot fix. Also, seeing Ahriman get knocked down a peg here or there is always fun. Honestly, there are so many examples of the Eldar clapping Chaos in humiliating ways. I mean, each Phoenix Lord does it on the daily that it probably needs its own video. So if this video does well, I'll make that, cause yeah, fuck making 45-minute long videos. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the Major Minis carry case, which comes with a free miniature. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more humiliating content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.